Boom. We're on.
We're live. Hi, everybody.
What's up?
I didn't have a chance to set it up here to see how many people we have with us. I hope, can you see that information, Dusty? I see some people commenting over here, but I'm not sure how many are with us, but it doesn't matter because the most important people are here with us tonight. I see Dawn Marie, Denise, King Carlos, Janine Lewis, and of course, ABD is always with us. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. So we just wanted to come on briefly and discuss some of the new developments with the Barry Morphew case. So at this point, we all have pretty much heard what Profiling Evil said the other night on their fantastic program. If you guys were like me, you were sitting on the edge of your seat just waiting for that information. Those guys did a fantastic job delivering that information for the Mormon family. And since we're talking about the Mormon family, Suzanne's family, I want to talk to them for just a second and let you guys know that I'm glad that you're getting your side of the story out. And I can't imagine what you guys are going through at this time, but we're with you and we support you, and we are so grateful that you have come forward with this information. And I couldn't think of any better people to share this information with than Chris and Mike. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I have so much respect for you guys, and we're here with you as well to the end of this till we find Suzanne and bring her home. How you doing tonight, Dusty?
I'm doing good. Just going through my notes, trying to get these a little more organized. But yeah, I love that. The whole time they were, Mike and Chris were talking, I was sitting there writing down all their theories and and then me and you were texting back between each other saying, did you hear that? And all that stuff. And then we comment on what they said. And it was really, I don't think that the time that that has went so fast that I've watched YouTube than it did at that time. It was going by really quick.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So what we wanted to do tonight to start off with is I wanted to talk a little bit about Barry Morphew's his little 25-second speech that he gave, and which equated into 59 words. So in the last 3 months, Barry Morphew has given us 25 seconds and 59 words. That's pretty sad. That's actually very, very sad. So I want to go ahead and play. Do we have that clip, Dusty, that entire clip, or is it just that one abbreviated version?
Yeah, I don't have the whole clip. Everybody's seen it, I'm sure.
Yeah, so this is basically how it went down. Oh, Suzanne, if anyone is out there who can hear this, that has you, please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. We love you. We miss you. Your girls need you. No questions asked. How much ever they want, I will do whatever it takes because, honey, I love you. I want you back so bad. All right, so in that little 25-second speech, which in my opinion was pretty pathetic, we see two things that I want to talk about real quickly. Right here towards the very beginning, he says, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. And then also down towards the bottom, I will do whatever it takes because, honey, I love you. So here we are. We have that.
Please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. I will do whatever it takes to get you back.
Barry cut you off, Tyson.
That's all right. So, you know, when somebody makes you a promise that they will do whatever it takes to bring you back or to find you, you know, you would hope that they meant that, especially if it was your husband of, 20-something years. And so we're very disappointed in Barry. We invited him to come speak to Profiling Evil. I know Lauren Scharf, I know for a fact that she invited him several times, and he was a no-show. And honestly, we were talking today off camera, weren't we, Dusty, about some of the things that Barry has done, and really we couldn't come up with too many things that he has done to help with the disappearance. So in that little 25-second speech, we see several broken promises right there. He hasn't done anything, has he, Dusty? What do you think?
I think the best thing, I think, I don't know what that was. Sounded like a growl, but I think the best thing he did to find Suzanne was, and to find the killer was talk to you. And I'm sure he wasn't trying to find the killer, because we know why he wouldn't want to find the killer. But yeah, he has, I mean, 25 seconds plus what he said to you, which was just a rehearsed theory. And I was talking to a lot of people, messaging back and forth on Facebook and on YouTube. And I noticed that a lot of you noticed a lot of things that I noticed about that video once we go back and listen to it. But one of the things that everyone noticed was that he never said Suzanne's name one time. He said her a couple of times or a few times, and he said my wife. And I think he said their mom when he was talking about his girls. And he also, it really struck me this time listening to it that he so nonchalantly and so void of emotion mentioned a mountain lion dragging Suzanne up a hill. So, you know, I don't understand how you can just, I mean, I know that he knew that didn't happen, so maybe that's why he was void of emotion. But I mean, gosh, that was just brutal with the way he was saying it. And it's his wife, you know, like you said, it would have been 26 years, you know, last week. So that's just crazy.
Yeah, that absolutely is. You know, I remember the night that it happened, that, you know, the day that I spoke to Barry and we had that little encounter. I was back in Pagosa Springs that night, Pagosa Springs, Colorado. And as I, you know, got ready for the night, I got a phone call from Michael, from Dad with the Phone. And he did the first interview. It was just probably right after, you know, several hours after I had talked to Barry and whatnot. And, you know, he wanted to know what it was like being right there next to Barry and looking into his eyes, you know, before he put his sunglasses on. And I told him that night, and I'll say it for the rest of my life, he was very nervous. He was very nervous. And I know it didn't really come across as much in the video, but you know, and in fact, a lot of people said that video helped Barry because it humanized him, and it gave him, you know, it gave us a view of Barry out there, you know, in the wilderness with his sweet little mother, you know. So they were like, man, this guy, you know, he's just a victim here, you know. But me, I was feeling like, you know, that could be true. You know, nobody knows for sure, but my gut feeling was telling me something wasn't right the entire time. And, you know, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I don't like to jump to conclusions or speculate. And I was trying to do that with Barry, but my gut feeling just kept telling me that something wasn't right. What do you think about that, Dusty?
Yeah, when I first saw it, I don't know why I'm growling, some kind of feedback, but when I first saw that video, I was kind of sympathetic towards him because I didn't understand what was going on in it. And the more I watched it, the more I started understanding. And then when Mike and Chris told us all the things that they saw in it as red flags, it totally, like, I already had changed my mind a little bit about how I felt about that video. But when they pointed out all those things, there was like zero doubt in my mind that who was responsible for this. And it's just, I just don't, I guess I don't want to say anything negative towards law enforcement, but it's just confusing why there's not an arrest already. It's just, you know, and I don't know if it's because they're just trying to, you know, get all their ducks in a row, but I don't know. It's just kind of perplexing. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, that would just be total speculation. I really have no idea what law enforcement is doing. You know, I know that they have their protocols and their procedures of what they do We support them 100%. You know, I think that sometimes when we start following these cases, we get a little impatient, especially here in Colorado, folks. Let's face it. You know, it didn't take very long for Chris Watts, did it? Did it take very long for Chris Watts? No, he gave a couple of little ridiculous interviews that looked a lot like Barry's, and then he ended up getting caught with a lie detector test. So that went pretty quickly. Well, then what happened with Patrick Frazee when Mr. Tough Guy took a baseball bat to Kelsey Barrett? You know, he thought he was going to get away with that. He thought he was going to get away with it, but they had an arrest pretty quickly. And so, guys, I understand that we expect results and we expect them right now. We expect them yesterday. But the truth is, it takes time to process evidence. And it's going to take a little time on this one. You know what? I have a sneaky suspicion that Barry, he's very well at covering it. He does a good job of covering his tracks. And so this one's going to take it's going to take some police work. So let's just hang tight here, folks, because the police are doing their thing and we're doing our thing. And guess what, guys? What did I say when I was in Salida, Colorado, leaving that bike shop? I said we were going to start to pick up nuggets here and there, and we were going to put them together, and then it was going to tell a story of what happened. Well, here we are. We're starting to put those nuggets together. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
what do you think of that, Dusty?
Yeah, and going back to, I noticed that I didn't catch the name on it, but somebody else said Letitia Stout too, and she did the same thing. She started running her mouth and getting on social media and talking. So she kind of did the opposite of what Barry did. She was talking way too much, which is good because, I mean, they caught her. But I wanted to go to this question by Rowan Hayes. I noticed Rowan comments a lot, and he's a follower that's always asking some really cool questions. So I wanted to bring this up. He said, Tyson, what do you think when Barry was talking about the bike and said the tire was up or facing this way and immediately stopped and changed dialogue? Did you catch that when that happened when you were talking to him, or did you notice it on the video, Tyson?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Rowan. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for asking that question. You know, I think when I was in the moment with Barry and he took me over to where the bike was discovered and he started to give me his theories, I think it was just kind of a moment of shock for me. You know, if you watch the video, he just kind of rambles on, and I'm right there just quiet. I'm just collecting my thoughts. And so by the time he tells me 2 or 3 theories, what does anybody remember my first question? Let me see if I can see it there in the comments. My first question was, so the bike was down there against that tree where the pink ribbon is? Because he had already gone so far past that I was still trying to comprehend that that's where the bike was. Because the prior day I was there, I was looking in a different area, and I had no idea that the bike was right there. So to answer your question there, Rowan, when he started talking about the wheel being bent and then he quickly changed subjects, I don't think I picked up on it right then. I think it was later on when I left and I sat down and I started watching the video that I started to pick these little, clues up out of there. So just like you guys, man, I have watched this video and I've nitpicked it. And, the funny thing, though, is this. I want to tell you something real fast, Dusty. I want to talk about Profiling Evil for a minute because I want to express how important their investigation has been and how important their videos have been. Because if you think about it, that video of mine has been up on the internet for a couple of months, right? And people have watched it thousands and thousands of times. And when we first put it up, we had a lot of hate from people. Then it kind of like started to change a little bit, and then it just kind of plateaued off, and then people were neutral. Well, then here comes Profiling Evil, and they give us a professional breakdown from 2 guys that have 75 years experience between the 2 of them. They put their heads together on this case, and look what they were able to present for us and lay out so beautifully And now look at how the tide has changed. And now look, people are looking at that video with a more critical eye, and they're starting to pick up on these little facts that have been there all along. But these two have helped us to really see this video for what it is. So thank you, Chris and Mike. You guys are fantastic.
Yeah, and I remember those early days when all that stuff was being said, and it was understandable in a certain way because they didn't know you. You know what I mean? They just, and still people out there, they've only seen that one video, and they judge you by that. And it seems like I don't know what I would have done in that situation. I don't know what I would have said, but all I know from then to now, all I know is that is a key piece of evidence in this case, obviously. And so, I mean, I wouldn't even worry about it, you know, and I know you don't because we talk off the air about this, but yeah, it may rub some people the wrong way, but if it catches Suzanne's killer, who cares? That's the way I look at it.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys, here we are 3 months, and I want to say this real quick. Thank you to all you people who took Lauren Scharf's advice and turned your porch light on last night and really lit up the world for Suzanne. That was really a special thing, man, on her anniversary. And but you know, one of the things I wanted to say in conclusion to that piece of the program is that if we didn't have that video, what would we have? We would have 59 words and 25 seconds of information from Barry Morphew. That's pathetic, man. That is pathetic. I'm just going to say it like it is. I mean, look at Elizabeth Smart's dad. I mean, I wonder if that guy slept for like 9 months. I mean, he was out there constantly talking to the news media, knocking on doors, printing flyers. I mean, just searching the end of the earth. And that's the way that it should be for somebody that you love and that you care about, and somebody that's so incredibly sweet like Suzanne is. We're getting to know her personality better, and what a sweet woman, and what a crying shame that she only deserved, in Barry's eyes, 59 words in 25 seconds. That's pretty pathetic. What do you think, Dusty?
Yeah, I agree. And there's been others too that are good examples of somebody that cares, like Casey Anthony's parents were out there. They had shirts with Kaylee's picture on it. Scott Peterson's wife, I'm blanking on her name, but she was pregnant. Yeah, Lacey Peterson. Yeah, so thank you. And her mom was out there. Her brother was out there. I just watched a documentary about that the other day, and I was so, it was weird for me to be shocked that they were doing that, but it was because of this case, because we're focused so much on this case where nobody's talking, that I was like, holy crap, they're talking all the time. You know, that's the way it's supposed to be, but we don't see that. You know, we don't see that in this case. It's supposed to be like Alicia Cordova. You know, it's supposed to be like that. And it's supposed to be, I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody how to grieve or whatever if that's what's going on, but you know, it's really hard. I mean, and plus when you're in the town and nobody's heard of this, that's, you know, that's kind of ridiculous when it's a town that small and people don't even know who Suzanne is or that she's missing. You know, that blew me away. And that's totally the fault of the people close to her. So, I mean, I'm not bagging on her kids or anything like that. It's totally different. But when you're on there saying, like Tyson said, when you're on there saying you'll do whatever it takes and you don't do anything, how are we supposed to believe anything you say? So,
Dusty, play that clip one more time for me, please.
All right.
Please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. I will do whatever it takes to get you back.
Spanky and Pablo are still waiting.
I'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. We will do whatever it takes to bring you back, except for talk to the media, reach out for help, a polygraph test, a voice stress test, work with Suzanne's family, press conferences, etc., etc., etc. I will do anything accept all of these things. So
I think he said I won't do anything, and we just didn't hear the won't. 'Cause
well,
that's pretty much what's going on.
well, that's definitely what his actions are saying, and it's very disappointing, you know. And it's just, you know, but you know, anyway, Dusty, let's go ahead and move on to the next thing that we're going to talk about here. So let's go over here. There was a couple of good questions that I saw here relating to what we want to get into now.
Okay. Do you see him?
Yeah, I can see him here. Is my connection good, by the way? It was kind of bad there in the beginning, but
Yeah, it looks a lot better than it did. That's for sure. I'm not sure what you're looking for, so if you...
Well, let's see what this says right here. So Shannon Burgess widow. She went through non-Hodgkin's lymphoma like my daughter, had miracle babies, then she had to go through this. I feel deeply sorry for her family. And, you know, thank you, Shannon, for sharing that. I felt the same way throughout the last few days, you know, and I've just really have grieved for the Mormon family and tried to put myself in their position of wanting answers, but being in that delicate spot that Profile in Evil talked about with family dynamics and stuff like that. But, you know, it's terrible. And to think that this woman survived so much and was such a fighter from a very young age, you know, and to have such faith in God to defy the doctor's, you know, predictions and have two beautiful children, despite them saying she never would. I mean, two miracles, you know, and everything that she went through only to turn up missing the way that she has. It's just such a tragedy. Don't you think, Dusty?
Absolutely. You know, our stepmother had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma also. She recovered. She's been in remission for over 20 years. And I remember when she went through it and how emotional it was, especially for my dad. You know, he was tore up more than she was. And that just goes back to the contrast, you know, of seeing someone who truly is deeply in love with their spouse, grieving for something, what might happen or what has happened, and then to see this. And I hate to keep harping on it, and I hate to, you know, just beating a dead horse, but it's just so shocking to us. I mean, we're not used to that kind of stuff, you know. And so what does this say about a push-up? I saw something about that earlier. Push-up tournament.
Yeah, this is probably information that came from my good friend Plunder. I think she put out a little video today that talked about Barry Morphew. His priorities are a little mixed up right now, and this isn't the first time that I've seen this. You know, I've had other people send me text messages or emails and talks about Barry being at the gym, and you know, this is all speculation and stuff, but you know, the people that were there kind of observing him, they weren't real impressed with what he was doing, his behavior at that time, instead of being out, you know, searching for his wife. Not only that, but some of the things that he was doing while he was there. It just doesn't seem like finding his wife is a priority, Dusty. It just doesn't.
Gosh, I keep growling for some reason. Can you hear that? When I start talking, it sounds like a lion's roaring.
Well, we are the Tiger Adventure, so maybe.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have said a tiger roaring. So, yeah, we talked a little bit about this, what Janine, I think that hopefully that's how you say that name, Janine Lewis. It says, oh, yeah, Tyson, I had a question for you. At what point did you meet his mother, and what were his clothes like? I think she's talking about the first time you met Barry. Was he coming from any water area? I wonder if his mom knows. So remember we were talking about when you first saw him and what he looked like and where he came from. Why don't you mention that? Because that was really an interesting conversation we had.
Okay. So just so you guys know, if you're new to my channel and you haven't had a chance to watch all of our videos, then I encourage you to go back and take a look at those, because it kind of tells a story. And we did that on purpose. In fact, we talked about that, didn't we, Dusty, in the very beginning, of how some of our videos would actually go back in time, and then it would kind of build a storyline, and that's what we've done. And so some people get confused. But to answer your question, I was there or to comment on what you wanted me to comment on. I was there the day before I ran into Barry. You can see it in another video. And one of the weird things now, you know, with these latest developments is when I first showed up, I'm wearing a yellow shirt. So when you go search for that video, do two things for me. Subscribe to our channel and also look for that yellow shirt, and that's the right video. Well, when I get out of the truck, little did I know Barry's truck was sitting right there by the road, right at the junction of 50 and the 225. And I didn't know it was Barry's truck. And if you go back and watch that video, it's weird because his truck is backed in there. It's kind of backed up and it's kind of sitting sideways. And you had a good question earlier, Dusty. You asked me, well, what did he back up to? Well, it was a really sharp hill. It's just above the 225 where they found Suzanne's bike, and there's a steep drop off right there. Well, you know, I wasn't thinking anything about it. I didn't know whose truck it was or anything like that. So I walked right past it. Well, as I came around that corner, like 2 minutes later, you can see this in the video in real time. When I'm walking and talking, Barry goes right past me in his truck, and I look over and I see him. And it's just an instant moment. It's just a snapshot. And so my brain is processing the information, and I realize that it's Barry. And then I see that he has an Indiana license plate as well. And so my brain starts to think, well, you know, that truck that was parked up there was Barry's, and he's leaving. And it was the strangest thing too that I saw. I saw him with no shirt on. And some of you guys have heard this, and I apologize, but for those people that haven't seen these videos, I'll give you a spoiler. But anyway, he had no shirt on. He was bright red, and he was soaking wet, and he was driving like this up close to the steering wheel with his chest almost up to the steering wheel. And the interesting thing too is there was two other people in the truck. One was in the front and one was in the back. And when I met his mom the next day, I just thought, well, it was probably his mom that I saw the day before, right? But now with these latest developments and the way things are starting to unfold, I can't help but go back to that video and wonder what Barry was doing out there with two other people. And by the way, where was he? You know, where was he when I went by his truck 2 minutes earlier? He was nowhere around. I panned around with the camera and I didn't see him coming up through the brush or anything. It was like he just magically appeared. And where did these other two people come from? You know, so it was an interesting experience in real time, but in hindsight, it's even more interesting as the developments start to. So why don't you guys tell me what you think about that situation? What do you guys think? Tell us in these comments. What do you think, Dusty?
Well, after we talked about that video, I went back and watched it, and I'm going to tell you, it creeped me out because you kept looking over your shoulder. Once you noticed his truck, you kept looking over there, and his truck started moving, and it was creeping real slow. I don't know if you remember this, but it was creeping real slow up behind you, and I could almost hear the Jaws music playing. And I was like, man, this guy is watching Tyson because he was driving super slow. And I slowed it way down. I went frame by frame trying to see who was in the passenger side. And I think I saw gray hair, but I'm not sure. So I don't know if it was his mom in there or not. But
and Dusty, let me say this: it could have been. I'm sorry to cut you off, but it could have been. It could have been his mom.
Yeah.
It could have been his mom. I don't know. I didn't look at the passenger. I looked right at Barry, and I just processed the condition that he was in at that time.
Yeah, definitely. And it was interesting to watch that video and see your facial expressions, and you could tell it was going through your head. You were trying to figure out what was going on and if that was really Barry Morphew or not. It's like you couldn't believe it was really him, but you thought for sure with the everything was adding up for it to be him with the Indiana license plates and everything. But does it I asked you this before, but I want to ask you on there so you can answer it for these people. Now knowing everything you know and looking back on those videos, does it freak you out that you were in his presence walking down a little dirt road with him? Does it freak you out that you might have been walking with a killer?
No, not really.
Yeah.
Just like those guys were saying the other night, these are just human beings, and he's not going to be guilty until a jury, says he is. But no, the only time that I really kind of felt freaked out was when we were filming that video where I put the camera on the front of my truck when we were talking about the bike ride. And the reason why is because that I was having camera issues that day, and it put us in that neighborhood a lot longer than I wanted to be there. I mean, we probably spent a good 2 hours up there in that neighborhood shooting this video. And let me tell you something. If you guys don't think Barry Morphew is watching this stuff, he is. And he knew I was going to be up there that day. And so I was a little freaked out that day. But you know what? Everything went fine. People were all around because it is summer, and that's a popular bike path, and like a mountain biking path, and there were people staying in the Airbnbs all around and all that kind of stuff. So again, I had a guy with me that was a great guy, and he was making sure that he was watching my back literally, and everything was fine. So Dusty, I think to answer your question, I don't think that's ever going to happen until a jury says that Barry is guilty. If they do, we don't know, but if they do, then maybe I might look at that in hindsight and be like, wow, maybe I'm pretty lucky that something else didn't happen. But for right now, everything's fine right now.
Yeah, I didn't think it would worry you too much, because once you get focused on something else, it's like you are laser focused if something was to go sideways, you would react, and I know that you would be okay. But I'm the kind of the opposite. I probably would have been super freaked out that I even met the guy. But in hindsight, I would have been like, man, dodged a bullet on that one. So did you see that one comment? Janet Tucker said somebody was lashing out at us. I just wanted to tell everybody that we're pretty used to that. There's a lot of YouTubers that say stuff to us, and we don't really worry about it. I know this person who gave me some good advice. She said, look at stuff like that from like 30,000 feet, and you're looking down, and none of that matters to us. Not saying none of your comments matter to us, because we love hearing from you. But if somebody's just mad because we're trying to bring out the truth, there's nothing we can do about that. We're going to keep doing that, and it's not going to change we're not going to be upset that they're jumping on the Barry bandwagon or whatever. But like Tyson said at the end of that video, the truth will come out in the end, and that's all. We have faith that that'll happen. We're not worried about all those haters, whatever you want to call them. I don't like using the word haters, but you know what I mean. Negative Nellies.
Yep. So what we want to do is we just want to, in the closing here, guys, I want to try to keep these under an hour. I know we're only at about 30 minutes, but I want to take some of your questions now. So
I don't want to close before we talk about Nick's case, because I got some stuff. But let's have some questions before we do that.
Okay, let's take 2 or 3 questions here, Dusty, and then we'll switch gears and talk about Nick for a little bit. So
okay. You got any?
I'm looking right now. Dusty, go ahead. While I find some, go ahead and start with that right there. So,
well, I just want to briefly touch on the Nick Cordova case, because anytime I'm on here, I'm going to bring it up, because a lot of my focus, Tyson spends a lot of time researching the Suzanne Morphy case and doing that, talking to Mike and Chris about it and doing all that. But I also do, but I don't do as much as he does. But most of my focus is on the Nick Cordova case. There's just something about that case that's really touched my heart. The obvious things, but sometimes this stuff just locks into you, and you spend. I wake up at like 4:30 in the morning, and I'm thinking about it. We've had some strange things happen that keeps my focus on it. But I wanted to say that we've been reached out to from law enforcement, and we're doing our best to help them, sending them information, different things. But one thing I want to say is, that I'm just so proud of Alicia and how she's handled this, because she's continuing. I know a lot of mothers who take for granted that they have children, and they were blessed to be a mother. And you don't have to look any further than Suzanne Morphew to know there's people out there that are really blessed. They know they're blessed to have children. They know they're lucky to, because childbirth's a miracle. So for Alicia to be there and to keep herself in the right frame of mind, even though I know their heart's breaking and she's wanting to fall apart because that she doesn't know what she's going to do, but she keeps it together. I have so much respect for her. And I'm thankful that Capri and Cruz have her as a mother, because their lives were changed that day. That's an understatement of the year, and I just want to keep the focus on some of the focus on that case, because it's really touched my heart. I'm trying my best to help in any way I can, and we've started building a relationship with one of the people there. I don't want to mention any names because I don't know if she would want me to, but a really great law enforcement person there at the Gilbert PD, and she's reached out to us both, and she's really a good person. So I appreciate all her hard work on this case, and she said she's honored to be part of this case, and that made me feel really, really good. So what do you think, Tyson?
Yeah, I agree, bro. There's so much good we can say about Alicia Cordova, and luckily, probably in our lifetimes, none of us is going to have to go through the things that she's going through. Thank goodness. But she is going through it, and that's her new reality. And the way that she's handling it, I'm so impressed, just like you, bro. She's just such a strong woman, and they're going to make it through. Their life's forever changed, but they are going to make it through, like we talked about before. If you guys haven't watched my videos, go back and watch the one where, and I think it was right here on the screen. What does that say? ABD, our good friend with the German Shepherd. I'm not sure if you're male or female based on the initials and stuff, but it doesn't matter. I don't know if I should call you ma'am or sir, but thank you for always being here and supporting us and asking good questions and getting our brains going on certain things and filling us in on clues and whatnot. Thank you so much. So that question, where'd that question go?
I'm sorry. I didn't know you were wanting it. I clicked on something else I was interested in. There you go.
It says, Tyson, could you get an interview with the person she was on the phone with? So if you go back, ABD, and you watch my video, that's one of the ones where I went to Gilbert Air and tried to speak with David Sweetman, because a guy by the name of Robinson had casually invited me to come talk to him. Oh, Dave would love to talk to you. All you got to do is just give him a call at the office. He would love to talk to you. He's such a nice guy. Just give him a jingle and he'll get you right in. And so that's what we tried to do. You don't tell that to the Draper brothers and not mean it, because we were in the car the next day heading down there. And guess what? We didn't find David Sweetman anywhere. Guess what? His secretary gave David a message. He never returned the call. Oh, and the other thing is, he had my number, or I should say this. He had my number from the secretary, and I never heard from him. I waited hours and hours and hours for him, and he never showed. He was a no-show. So what does that tell you, Dusty?
Well, he wasn't the only. Mike Robinson wasn't the only one saying that he would talk. I mentioned this in another video, but his wife mentioned that if you guys wanted the real story, just come and ask David yourself. You wannabe junior detectives or whatever she called us. So, yeah, I called her out on that, and she didn't like it. And she said, well, you missed your chance. So, whatever. So, I mean, it's easy for people to say, oh, we'll talk. But when the rubber meets the road, they sing a different tune. So, yeah, we've tried really, really hard to talk to that guy. So it's not going to happen. I can tell you that. So.
No, it's not going to happen because now it's too late. And that's why I wanted that little small window of opportunity that we had. I tried to take advantage of it and get down there and see what we could get him to say, because now he's lawyered up and he's not going to say anything else. But very suspicious. Dusty and I are still looking at that 911 call. We are breaking it down. We are analyzing it. We're not law enforcement, obviously. We don't have all the fancy, expensive tools that they do, but we do have some stuff, and we're going to try to analyze it to see what we can hear in the background, because that right there is a big gold nugget if we can figure out some of the things that are said, because some of the things that we think are said, they actually correlate with some of those emails that we got. And we'll talk about that later in another program. We're still putting those details together, but it's interesting how there's a correlation there. And I think your guys' eyes are going to be opened on that one as well. So,
yeah. And right before we came on the air, I was looking on my emails, and I got an email from Gilbert PD asking me for those isolated clips. So I'll be sending those to them to see what they say about them. But there is some, it didn't take much to get those clips out of there as far as understanding what they say. I had to slow down a couple of them because they were talking pretty fast, which, if you think about it, if they're in the middle of a crime like that, their adrenaline's going to be pumping and they're going to be talking really fast. So, but some of them are clear as, once you isolate them and get that loud 911 dispatcher and of course, Alicia and all the emotion she was going through trying to get Sweetman to talk to her and tell her what was going on. So, yeah, there's some really eye-opening stuff in there. And if, like Tyson said, if you match it up with the emails we got, it puts the context in what they're saying and what they possibly could be talking about. So, I wish we could say more right now, but I don't want to say nothing until we put that all together, and also don't want to jeopardize the case. So, but I'll tell you this: law enforcement has asked me certain things, but they never told me I couldn't do certain things. They're not going to do that. So, they have asked me to send them certain things, and I don't even think they've ever asked us not to talk about something. Do you remember?
No, they've been fantastic.
Yeah.
Like Mike always says, he's trying to humanize police officers, and they've taken a beating, and they have, and honestly, since we've started this, Dusty, my respect for law enforcement has gone way up. I've always respected them, but I respect them so much more now, having worked with them and seeing what goes on behind the scenes and all that. They're just fantastic. But one thing I wanted to kind of compare this case to, Dusty, was what happened in several years ago. I don't remember what year it was, but out in Ahwatukee, an armored car driver was gunned down by a guy named Jason Brown. And that is a cold case. In fact, Jason Derek Brown is now on the FBI's 10 most wanted list. And that happened right out here in Ahwatukee of Arizona. And that case has gone cold, and they can't find him anywhere. And I've made it a commitment that I'm not going to allow this case to go cold. Not saying that it would. We got such a clear image of this guy. He's going to surface at some point. But I'm in this, just like you said in the introduction, Dusty. I'm in this one with my whole heart. We're going to do whatever we can to help Alicia and those two young, beautiful kids, and Teresa and Dylan and all of Alicia's family. So, and I told her the other night, you could tell she was struggling, and it was very, very sad. But I told her, I said, justice is coming. Justice is coming. And sometimes the wheels turn slowly, but it's going to happen. Just hang in there and keep just one day at a time,
Yeah. So I noticed somebody I agree, Tyson. Thank you. I noticed a couple of people were mentioning Delphi, and we've been talking about the Delphi case for I don't know, a month and a half. Tyson, is that fair?
Yeah.
I've been trying to get Tyson to fly out here to Kentucky so we can go up there, but I'm thinking I might just go up there by myself and try to talk to some people and see if I can get some answer. I'm not the boots on the ground guy in this whole deal, but I mean, I don't mind doing that every once in a while, but I would much rather have Tyson there with me. So encourage him to come out here.
Hey, hold on, dude. Just the other night, you said you were just the video editor, dude. What's going on here? Now you're trying to
I can't get you to come out here, so I have to do it. Everybody's asking about it.
I'm just messing with you, but yeah, no, but yeah, that'd be fun, wouldn't it, to go out there and see what we can dig up out there on that Delphi bridge where those two beautiful young girls were crossing that bridge, and then they came face to face with this monster that was out there. And but I think it would be, you know, I told you this a long time ago, Dusty, and you're my witness. You can verify. I feel some sort of a connection to the Delphi case. I don't know what it is yet, but I always have been like magnetically drawn to that case. And so I think it's going to be something that we're going to see coming up here, guys.
Yeah, I think so too. And I've been just getting that feeling ever since people started talking about it. It kept coming up and coming up. Like, we need to do something about that case. We need to go and at least dip our toe in the water and see what we can find out by talking to people. But I don't mind talking to people. I don't quite have the charisma Tyson has when he first meets people, but you know, I'm pretty open to doing that. I don't have any problem talking to people or breaking the ice. But yeah, it's not you guys might be expecting something like Tyson does. It might be a little bit boring for you, so you might want to encourage Tyson to come visit me, and we'll drive up there.
Well, you don't have to twist my arm too hard, bro. I always like coming and visiting you. Kentucky's a very beautiful state. You know, the last time I was out there visiting you, I was just blown away by the green rolling hills, and you know, and there are several cases out there that we could look into, and Delphi is not very far, like you said, from.
It's like 4 hours away from me.
Yeah. So I met a guy through this process the other night that lives in Indiana. He lives closer to Evansville, which is in the southern portion of the state. But he was talking about how he was wanting to get into this and start doing some boots on the ground stuff as well. And so I introduced him to that case. I said, you're very close to Delphi. Why don't you just go over there and start, you know, doing what you can do? And so, you know, guys, I'm not jealous. I'm not one of these YouTube creators that's going to, you know, turn people away because I want all the attention or I want all the subscribers. You know, we're all in this together. We're all in this together. And if there's any hate or jealousy, it's just too bad, because it's hindering the progress that we could be making if we were just to all join together. And so that's the spirit and the attitude that I try to have. If I see somebody that comes along that wants to kind of do what we're doing and be boots on the ground and investigate these cases, hey, why not? You know?
Yeah, because look how Mike and Chris like embraced you and wanted you to help them, you know, get their channel off the ground by doing interviews, and then they asked other people, and man, it's just been like what if we didn't put our heads together with those guys? Do you understand? You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, it's been an amazing relationship that's been building, especially you with them, because you talk to them a lot more than I do. But it's just amazing that what can be done if you work together. Because yeah, there's no room for jealousy. I've seen that in the photography, music industry world when I was shooting down in Nashville all the time, and it just it's so toxic, and I hate it. And that's one of the reasons that I don't do it as much as I used to, is because people are like that. But there was a lot of great people down there too that I loved, that always wanted to help me, and I tried to pass that on too. So that's what we're trying to do here. We love getting these, and I wish I had time to answer all of you that send me stuff, but it's it's almost impossible for me to do it because we both work full time. Hopefully someday this will be our full-time job, but it's hard to do that right now. But just know that we see them and we appreciate them and we pass them along through the different channels. So.
All right. Well, you know what, guys, I hate to tell you this, but I just had to kick somebody out of here, out of the chat. I hate to do that, but we might need to get more moderators, Dusty. We got people out there that are just trolling, but you know, and that's unfortunate. I mean, here we are talking about how we need to be united and we need to come together for one great cause, and we got people out there that are just spewing hate. You know, just go somewhere else, man, because this is not what we're going to do here. We're going to bring everybody together and try to figure these cases out without all that nonsense. So
it says somebody say we need mods. We have one. I don't think that's enough. We have one moderator tonight that volunteered to do it for us, and we got a couple of others saying they would like to do it. So we'll let you if you want to.
Whoever's doing it, I think you're doing a great job. Thank you very much. I just happened to see that as it scrolled by here, and so anyway, guys. I
always look at it as. I'm sorry, Tyson.
What else do you have, Dusty? We're getting pretty close to the hour mark here, but what else do you have? Anything in conclusion?
Well, just look for that video to come out soon where we talk about the Nick Cordova 911 call, because we've been putting a lot of hours into that, and we've got a few more to put into it before it's ready. But it's going to be really, really interesting, and it's going to shine a light on certain things that haven't been out there yet. I'm not sure that we'll put everything in there because I'm not sure that, but there will be key stuff in there that we'll share, and it's going to be really, really cool. Another thing I was going to say is we probably will go up to Delphi. If it's me going up there the first time, I might do that. But eventually Tyson and I will definitely go together and do some interviews up there, go into the coffee shops or whatever's up there and start asking questions. That case is really, really interesting. There were some really smart young ladies that were cool enough to record or smart enough to record that stuff. So that's really, really some great stuff, the footage we have of that. So yeah, it's interesting. I don't really have much else, but I really thank everybody for what they do. I mean, there was
hey,
a lot of people saying they want to go with us. So.
Yeah, well, you know what? I know we say it all the time, guys, and I don't want it to become just something that I'm saying and I don't mean it, because I truly do. When I say thank you guys for all that you do, I have people emailing me, texting me, sending me information, you know, any way they can get it to me, or sending Profile and Evil information in their new envelope, evidence envelope, etc. And it's just amazing, all you guys that are out there. It's so nice to be a part of something good in the world. You know, there's so many bad things going on in this world. Isn't it, Dusty? Isn't it just wonderful to be a part of something that's all about love and helping, and it's great. It's wonderful.
Neither one of us expected this thing to happen. You know, we didn't see it coming, and we're obviously learning as we go. But yeah, it is amazing to be part of this, and that brings up another point that I've been working really hard on, the membership thing. You know, how you can join the membership. And we're going to have stuff like behind the scenes videos of how we prepare. We're going to have members only chats, stuff like that. I mean, there'll be like 5 different tiers of stuff that we're going to do, but it's under review right now with YouTube. You have to get everything reviewed before they'll let you post it. So it's under review. We finished all that. So we'll be bringing that to you soon. We're going to have more merchandise in our, if you guys want to get that stuff. I mean, I want to get one of the shirts because, you know, they're cool, but yeah. So anyway, go ahead, Tyson. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say in closing, you know, I'm looking up here and our number got up to over 600, well over 600 tonight. And that is truly humbling, because you guys gave us an hour of your time. We know your time's valuable, and we appreciate you guys coming out and supporting us tonight. And I'm going to end with this saying right here on the screen, wherever it is, that from Ann Pena: America as a whole needs to bring peace, harmony together. Stop the hate, please. And I agree, man. You flip on the news today, and it's so depressing, and it's so refreshing on the other hand to come in here and talk to such wonderful people. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I truly, truly appreciate you guys, and I'm so grateful to be a part of this. So thank you very much.
Me too. Love you guys, and I appreciate all that you do. I want to give one shout out to two shout outs. One to Tamara Kennedy for moderating for us, and also to Janet Mayer. I said her name wrong last time. I asked her, I said, did I say your name wrong? And she's like, oh, it's okay. But it's pronounced Mayer, not Meyer. So Janet Mayer, thank you for all you do. You're always really positive. You have your own channels on or groups on Facebook that don't let the berry lovers in there, which I think that's cool. So, and you guys always got our back. So I really appreciate that.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next time. Love all you guys. Have a good night.
See ya.